All right, welcome in another edition of TigerBait Live. Mike Scarborough here with Buddy Songy, and I think we got a lot to talk about. Spring football game Saturday afternoon. LSU baseball heads to Knoxville. Transfer portal for multiple sports, and football recruiting. Of course, we're about to hit the spring evaluation period, meaning high schools are about to start their spring practices in a couple of weeks. A lot of stuff happening in the next couple of weeks. But I did notice something today, Buddy, is that I'm looking at our site statistics for this same time period, the last few weeks, the first 2 weeks of April compared to last year. And the site is down about 40%. And what is that 40%? The women's basketball team did make it to the Final Four, so you had that extra week. And the LSU baseball team is looking like they might not make postseason play.
Happy Wednesday night, everybody. As Mike is just telling you like it is, we were talking about, when we come on these shows, you want to hear positive vibes and stuff. And when it's there, you love it and you get the bouquets and the roses and the chocolate and all that. But people live vicariously through LSU sports. And this is a tough baseball scenario. I mean, I don't think anybody can ever remember LSU losing 3 or 4 series with run rule on the third game of the weekend. And, of course, Todd Walker talked about that. Got to find somebody there. Playing Tennessee, another top 5 team. So hopefully they get a break on the back end. But that obviously – and then, of course, when you win a natty, whether it's Kim and the women and Jay and the men, people naturally expect you to follow it up with another top 5 team. It's not that easy. Everybody's trying to win. Oh, by the way, can you believe it? You've been a big proponent of Kim Mulkey and LSU women's basketball. The women outdrew the men. And I know a lot of you think it's not going to be the same with Caitlin Clark out, but how about that $18.7 million to watch Iowa and South Carolina? A little over $14.5 million watching Danny Hurley once again.
I don't know what to make of it.
But I think a lot of it's Caitlin Clark and the stars that have evolved. But that being said, that is a little transition because at this time last year, you're celebrating a natty. You're going out.
Well, it's like I'm saying, yeah, you're right. I'm saying the numbers are down 40%. But think about what was happening in the first 2 weeks of last April. You played for a national championship. You won it. You came back. You had the welcome party. You had the parade through campus. The LSU baseball team was number 1, right, during that time period.
I don't think they were number 1. They had a little bit of a rough stretch, and
but they were.
But obviously, with those
Skeens and Cruz,
all those guys. I mean, you're talking about double-digit players that just aren't easily replaceable, Mike.
Yeah. So we can talk about all that and a lot more. Of course, we're brought to you each and every week by the official roofing company of TigerBait.com, Pride Roofing. We'll talk about Mike and Alex a little bit later. Also, LSU women's basketball fans got a big announcement combined with Alumni Hall a little bit later in the show also. And I'll be out there. It's an event that you're going to want to go to next week. So we're going to have that to talk about later in the show also.
Football tidbits. We apologize. We had the yard man and the blower out at LSU kind of in the background as we were doing reports. We've got some tidbits. And look, I know Jackson Howard is a name that I erroneously thought. I told people in that report Tuesday, look at number 11. They like him a lot. Well, when you actually dive into it, remember I talked about those linebackers? Kalaj Cobbins is a jack linebacker, and he is well thought of. We talked about Singleton and Xavier coming in. I mean, they got a lot of linebackers. Well, and you had a point about a Minnesota guy and a guy in that part of the country that may not have a loyalty to stick down here.
Louisiana. I'm just look, I've been doing this for 30 years. Look, you want to recruit the best anywhere they are in the country. Absolutely. But I think for the most part, you're better off sticking with Southern football players. Players from the South.
Jamar Kane recruit, and he brought in a bunch of those guys. But you know what? Unfortunately, they didn't ever pan out.
They don't. And look, I'm not saying that Jackson Howard is not going to end up somewhere and be an absolute stud, but
He's a good football player.
But last
Might
week,
be a tweener.
But last week Zach Nagy filled in for you on one of our reports, and I brought up the fact that look, I hadn't seen any flashes. Jackson Howard's one of those kids where you look at him and you're like, wow, impressive. And there's a lot of guys that give you that wow look. I mean, Savion Jones has been giving me that since his junior year of high school. Okay. Quincy Wiggins was that. But I didn't see any flashes. There was no wow moment in any of the practices that we've seen him since he got to LSU. And not saying he can't be that. I wish him the best. He's a great and super kid. But I brought up the point last week with Zach. At some point, whether if you get lost in the shuffle at defensive end, because for most of his recruiting process, he was considered either a tight end or a defensive end. He wanted to come to DN, and like at some point, if he's not going to make a move there or make think you can get anything, do you maybe consider moving to the other side of the ball? Well, Zach brought up, how would he fare any better there with all the tight ends they've got? So I don't know. We'll see where he ends up. But best of luck to him. Met him and his daddy, super people. And look, LSU needs to have some attrition. They're over. And we know that they need some help in the portal with defensive line. Is there another running back that they want to get? And that was also some news yesterday. LSU offering the running back from Ash. So
JT Lindsey.
Yeah, JT Lindsey. And so what does that mean for Simon up in Shreveport? I think that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of where they might be going, and maybe they're tired of waiting. So we'll see how that plays out. I think they wanted a commitment by now.
A lot of college pundits are predicting that this is going to be crazy, this next portal. The NCAA, Tiger Shark, we've already said if we ever have to go against the NCAA, Tiger Shark is going to represent you and I. That being said, it could be just the wild, wild west times 10. The tampering that's going on. The money that's being thrown around. So, look, Jackson Howard is just scratching the surface. I think there'll be another 5 or 6, maybe even more, that end up leaving once the spring game is played on Saturday. I think the new portal starts on Monday the 15th. So look for that. But, hey, don't work out a big problem and freak out, because LSU is going to get their share in the portal. You know that.
All right, let's scroll through some comments. As always, look, if you're enjoying the show, please do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe channel on YouTube and the notification bell. Very much appreciative. And we load our YouTube channel up with a lot of content. Todd Davis with a Go Tigers right out the chute. Kenny Futch, good evening, Buddy and Mike. Dane Bergeron, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Let's see. Glenn says, glad I'm on hydrocodone. It helps with the pain from watching LSU baseball as well as post-surgery pain. Glad you came through it good, Dane. Do what the doctors tell you. Chance Babin asked Mike and Buddy, how many players does LSU gain and lose with portal opening? I think total LSU's maybe 4 or 5. Do you think they go 6 or 7?
I mean, I don't have any idea. Look, these are the things that are happening now. You go into after the spring game and you say, look, coach, I'm running with the 3s. And then you got guys coming in here. You got to understand.
But I think my point is when you try to come up with a number, just look at the history since Brian Kelly's been here. There hasn't been mass people leaving. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. So I think when you start talking a half a dozen, that we've never seen a number like that. So I just don't think that's going to be there.
Well, we'll see. And obviously it's.
But you probably need that many. Where are they at now? 87 with Howard?
You and Brian have kept up with the number.
I got to check the number, but you might need 6 to go.
Yeah.
Just because of what you need on the defensive line and a running back and maybe they feel that they need 1 or 2 others at different positions. Maybe this is going to be the outlier or what bigger numbers what might be typical going forward now that we're really in this crazy NIL age. Yeah, Kenny Fudge says, I heard it was Matt House that was working with the blower. I know he's been working his Twitter feed and blocking people. Let's see. Collard Green says Deshaun Womack looks to be locked in and make a big impact this season.
Most exciting thing I heard from Coach Kelly all spring, the cheetah package. You put your best 4 pass rushers in there. Deshaun Womack is on the outside. You move Swinson inside. You move Paris Shan inside, and then you put Perk on the outside, stand-up rush linebacker. That's your 4 in the cheetah package. We know Whit Weeks can come up the middle. We know that Major Burns is going to blitz now. He's playing in a star. You're going to see more blitzes. You don't have the confidence yet on can you play press man-to-man on an island. And when P.J. Woodland raises eyebrows, that tells you a guy that's 160 pounds, a true freshman, early enrollee, still a lot of work to go. But I'm excited to see what the scheme is going to be like. And I think 16, as you said, Deshaun Womack, I think he's got a big year in front of him.
I do too.
I really do.
And I think Sage Ryan is about to have a big year. I talked about it with Buddy earlier today. I think those guys look to me when we're out of practice like they're having a lot of fun, that they really like this new defense and the new coaches. They're flying to the ball and it's attack and they're gonna take their lumps, but I think they're gonna get the most they can out of what they've got. American Patriot, I think the hype is up for women's basketball because of the good drama between the women. Hate her or love her, Angel Reese drew a lot of attention. I'm sad she is leaving. Look, there was a little bit of I said it last week where they are eliminated from the Elite Eight. They did make it to the Final Four. But a lot of people that cover the team, there was some media were like, man, when they got home, they're like, it was exhausting. Like, not that they were ready for the season to be over, but sometimes all that drama and having to write about stuff off the court. And I think some people found it exhausting, whether right or wrong. But I agree with Buddy. It was a shame the LSU Iowa game did not take place in Cleveland. That's where it should have been. But I don't think, Caitlin Clark is who she is, but I think the numbers that they drew, I don't think they're going to lose those because you have enough personalities to begin with. Flage's a personality, and I'm just talking about LSU. I don't think that's going to change. And now that these girls have their Instagrams and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube channels and everything that they're doing, I don't see that going anywhere. There's when you're talking about, how many, hundreds or thousands of girls that are D1 basketball players, you're going to have personalities everywhere.
Albany 1-2, Portland 3-4. They combined the 2 sites, and it was a cluster frick. I'm not going to go into all the details and the stories that I've seen, but very unprepared to accommodate what they were trying to do. And I think the women were supposed to have a meeting and change some things for 25. Now they're going to meet at the end of this year because, as we know, with the 3-point line that was off 9 inches and all the other things, they've got some tweaking to do. But look, Caitlin Clark is certainly special. Angel Reese is special. I don't know if they're going to draw the 18 million and outdraw the men next year, but I will tell you this: it was a hell of a ride. And Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers are going to be back in there in the mix. This is probably Flage's team. Angelica Velez has gone to the portal. And when we saw her play, she didn't get a lot of play in map-up time. She just didn't bring that poise and control as a point guard that you needed. You can't be nervous. You can't turn it over. And she just played nervous this year. So she was highly touted. And Del Rosario is got to learn how to play less stiff. But, man, with Michaela Williams hitting in knowing what to do in year 2, and Flauget, going to be a lot of fun. But I don't know if they can get to 18 million just yet next year. But they certainly have done a great job of growing the game of women's hoops.
I laughed at something I saw today. Someone sent me a link from the Babylon Bee, which is a satire site, and it was mostly a meme, but it was Caitlin Clark with a headline breaking Caitlin Clark to retire from Spotlight and enter the WNBA.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
By the way, you saw the Saturday Night Live piece with Kevin.
And I agree with them. That is satire, but I think that's true.
Yeah. You saw the piece on SNL. Yeah.
That to me, I'm surprised they didn't do that sooner.
Yeah.
That might be an ongoing character. We'll see. I wonder what Kim thought of that. All right, let's see.
And of course, men's basketball. You had a couple of defections. Carlos Stewart, the transfer who came over from Santa Clara last year, local kid. He just never got into the flow here, got hurt. So he's in the portal. And so, you're going to have more people getting in the portal. But Matt McMahon obviously working hard to get some more players in here.
Hal Jubin asked, Mike, how much longer is the portal open basketball-wise? Until May 1st. All right, let's see. Paul Esgine, you cannot have a 160-pound linebacker, 160-pound starter at cornerback in the SEC. Go Tigers. Hey, buddy, what was that peanut butter joke you said about Mike the other day? I don't remember it.
Who came that? Who was that?
He was asking you, did you say something about peanut butter?
Oh, heck, who knows? We say jokes every day. I mean, look, it's hard not to have a joke when you see him get run ruled throughout a foreign baseball. And, oh, by the way, gymnastics, next Thursday, they've got a chance to get into the Final Four.
Beano cooked peanut butter.
Yeah. When you get a little foggy, we mentioned this, and a lot of the guys picked up on it last time. But when you get a little foggy, you talk about getting into a big old scoop of Beano cooked peanut butter. And he was legendary, 40 or 50 years ago. But listen, the great thing about all these teams, we did that show about a month ago, and they were 2-2-2, baseball, softball, and gymnastics. And you're gonna be okay. Football, obviously, we were talking about it early to know. You'll get a chance to see. Tomorrow we find out from Coach Kelly the format, running clock in the second half for sure. How much will you use the communication in the helmet? 2-minute warning at the end of the half and right before half and at the end of the game. But, once again, folks, you're just seeing Marshall's. I don't think they've really had a lot of contact this spring. And, Mike, that question that we ask every year, how physical will LSU be? They'll be physical with the O-line. The tight ends. The offense will be physical. How many snot knockers and defensive difference makers that are physical are going to play for LSU this year? I think we're going to have to wait till that first game against USC to know the answer.
All right, let's go ahead. And I'm going to talk about Alumni Hall. And here it is, folks. Basketball meet and greet next Thursday at Alumni Hall. It's free. No purchase necessary. From 6 to 7 p.m., Thursday, April 18th. That's next week. Michaela Williams, Izzy Besselman, Alea Del Rosario, and Anissa Mora will be there. They'll sign. There's going to be free posters handed out to be signed, and free autograph posters for all attendees. And they'll have Sweet 16 shirts and other items at the store. And don't forget, the promo applies. Say TigerBait at the register, and you're going to get 10% off. So that'll be next Thursday at Alumni Hall in Perkins Row. I plan to be there. And of course, Alumni Hall is one of our sponsors each and every week. And that's where you got to go, folks. It's the best place to get all your LSU fan gear. Perkins Row, Bluebonnet in Perkins Row. Shop online at alumnihall.com. They got it all for you. Nike, Onward Preserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, and more. All the nice polos you're looking for, all the greatest LSU baseball gear, all the jerseys in different colors. The youth jerseys is their number one seller. All the kids want the LSU baseball jerseys. They have them in every color. And use a discount code TigerBait, all one word, in store or online, and you're going to get 10% off. And we're going to talk about it again next Wednesday night for sure. But plan to be there at Alumni Hall from 6 to 7. I'll be there and hope to see you guys out there and meet some of y'all.
Hey, plug and play. Anissa Morrow was fantastic in the portal. Haley Van Lift, we were waiting to see what she was going to do last Wednesday night. We were waiting for the deadline. And, of course, Mike, the next day, we found out she got in the transfer portal. I'm hearing that Kim and Regis and the staff, once again, are going to go heavy in the transfer portal. Certainly some guards. You probably need another big. So I'm sure you'll be on top of that.
Yeah, what was funny
news comes
what's funny is fans are seeing who Regis is following on his Twitter and trying to piece things together.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny, but I think they're going to have some nice additions. Trust me. All right, let's see what we got here. E-Dub the fourth. BK waited too long to fire House. Whether Smith or Wingo was coming back, LSU should have targeted defensive line in the early portal period. Neither guy played lights out last season. E-Dub, you're kind of saying what I was saying all during that period and earlier in the year. It is what it is. I think if all those guys were coming back, they should have gotten a couple in the portal at that point. There's some conjecture out there that had those players, several of those guys, known that Bo Davis was coming in, or if the hire would have been 100%, they would have definitely come back. There's also some conjecture that they were of the belief that House wasn't getting cut loose.
Well, that was the conventional wisdom, as we know.
And I can tell you, being in there, and you were there, when I was there for the bowl practices, I didn't see a guy in Matt House and the way he was carrying on and mingling with BK. I didn't see a guy who thought his job was done. Like I thought he felt secure.
Well, and I gave Brian Kelly enough credit. He had to make that move. So EW, trust me, I was in your corner. And as we know, look, these guys have never coached it down with LSU. You'll see a little sprinkling of what they're going to do, scheme, blitzing, and all that. But it's vanilla in the spring. But let's be honest. If you watched Ohio State and Missouri, and who's got better talent? Ohio State scored 3 points. That's when I said, you know what? This guy, we already saw a cup of coffee with Blake Baker in 21. What he did for Damone Clark and Baskerville and those guys. Now, it might take a year or two, but I guarantee you, Perkins will be utilized better. Weeks will be utilized better, and they're going to put pressure from the edge as they paid a lot of money for an edge coach. We didn't say that. Maybe he didn't hit along with Peoples. I'm talking about Jackson Howard. But trust me, they've got a lot of guys coming from the edge. And don't know if you'll be ready to say this defense is great by any time in this season, but it's going to be appreciably better, and it will be more aggressive, Mike.
Carl the Cat Dunn said LSU's losing 4-2 to Southeastern in softball right now. I saw Carl out there for the send-off for the team when they went to Albany. I just knew he was heading up to Albany, but he said he wasn't. But he was there that day. But, of course, Carl the Cat, I checked out his new eyewear, and he might be moving up your rankings based on the new glasses I saw he was wearing.
Wow, Carl the Cat. Once again, folks, if you've ever met Carl the Cat, the first question you ask guys is, how do you get on TV so much? But you know what? He's like all of us. He's getting older. He don't get as much airtime with Cobbs and JD and everybody anymore. But, Cat, hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. And once again, we hope that you make the top 50 high school officials in the Baton Rouge area this year. What was his rating last year? Didn't he get in the top 25 at the end of the year?
I thought he was like 37.
Just remember, Carl, blow the damn whistle when the play is over.
37. He was ranked 37th of Baton Rouge area referees.
Okay. No, I'm being serious, Cat. Blow the whistle when the play's dead. I've got that from a couple of coaches.
He's a super guy.
He's a super guy, and that is a thankless job, as we know. Who do we hate? Everybody hates sportscasters. look at Gary Danielson. You hate umpires. You hate referees. It's not actual hate, but that's who we criticize. And of course, Nate Yeske has been a little bit of a guy that's felt some of that criticism. He's got a great track record, Mike. He's been with 3 teams that have been to Omaha, but right now we hadn't seen the results with that pitching staff.
Green Z, is Coach Kim going to go after a true point guard in the portal? Absolutely. That's job number 1, don't you think? All right, let's see. All right. You know what time it is? Let's hear from Mike and Alex with Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
There you have it. Call them 855-PRIDE-16. Can't beat it. You want to be a TigerBait premium subscriber? They're going to pay for it if you call up for your free roof inspection, whether that's residential or commercial. Say TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait premium free for a year. That's Baton Rouge area, Hammond, the North Shore, New Orleans, Houma, Thibodaux, everywhere in South Louisiana, they've got you covered. And give Pride Roofing a call. New branch, obviously, right there, and ever expanding on government. And nobody does it better than Pride Roofing. Of course, they're the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
And of course, as we know, a job well done is a job done with pride and by pride. And Mike and Alex and their team do a fantastic job. We've had plenty of people use them. Commercial, obviously residential, and metal roofs still continuing to be very popular. They picked up Crown Metals as a company and bought that company, a year or 2 ago? Got to be a year or so. Changed the metal roofing business. Once again, folks, always a free roofing inspection. Mike Kirby and the gang at Baton Rouge. Look, you're not going to see them on TV every 20 minutes like you see them. You ever seen so many people advertise? Word of mouth is the way we get it out. And when we take care of you like PFM and everybody else, they talk. And
they know your insurance adjuster. They'll get competitive and give them a chance. If you're in a 3-bid situation, give them a call. If they don't win it, they're going to give you a good price and they're going to get it to you quick. They're a pleasure for you to work with, and been knowing them my whole life. Super fine people.
855-PRIDE-16. If you're out of that Baton Rouge area, 275-2041. That's area code 225. If you get an answer machine, leave Mike and him a message. They are very busy, and give them an opportunity. You will not be disappointed.
All right. I see Nurse Court's in the house.
We mentioned Nurse Court. We mentioned you before the show. Hope you're doing well.
Absolutely.
She's probably mad at me. Tuesday on the report. I challenged Peyton Todd. Do you know how sometimes coaches use the media to get a message out? Peyton Todd's been around here, a 4th-year junior, and this is his opportunity, but he's got to get a little more consistent. Boomer here, and then so look, Badger Hargett is a walk-on that's out there. You've seen more special teams than I've seen, but from what we've seen, it's not consistent enough. They also hold on all kicks. This is a big position change, losing Jay Bramlett, who's been around the last 2 years. So that's just part of the new part of specialty.
When we're out there, the competition looks pretty tight, but we're not out there for entire practices every day. So maybe Peyton Todd's running away with it. We don't know it, or maybe he's not. But I from what we see, it sure does look competitive. And there you go.
But that's a big part of special teams, folks. I want to say LSU only gave up like 8 or 10 yards all year long on punt returns. even though it wasn't 45 yards a kick, net and high as hang time, you got a pooch punt. Obviously, you got to down them inside the 10, all of that. So come on, Peyton. This is your time to make a statement, and let's watch and see what he does on Saturday, although we don't know the actual format or what they're going to do with special teams.
Chance Babin, if the gymnastic team wins it all, it might take some heat off Jay for a week or so. They're taking the steps. Do you think this gymnastics team can do it? I mean, they've been close several times.
They have finished second a couple times, I know for sure. A couple of things. They've got to stay on the balance beam. They are without a doubt the best team in the country on the floor. Mike, depending on your seeds and how you go in there, they have different rotations. And when LSU has the floor at the end on the fourth apparatus, they are better than anybody in the country. Oklahoma, you got to beat. You got to stick your landing, stay on the balance beam, and once again, get great depth. But look, Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers did it for the first time ever in basketball last year. Wouldn't that be something? All those years, DD was close. I know she would have great pride if they finally got one home. Jay Clark, we'll see if they can bring it home. But Oklahoma, obviously, the prohibitive favorite.
That would be something, wouldn't it? It's talking about spring sports and titles. Baseball and women's basketball did it last year. They stepped back. Women's basketball steps back a little bit. Baseball a whole lot, but wouldn't it be something if gymnastics makes it their turn in 24 to be the team that wins it all in the spring of the calendar year?
And Mike was telling me before the show that some people, and I haven't had a lot of feedback on this, but some people, this is the time of the year where magazines and beat writers and pundits start throwing out best 10, best 5 coaches in college football. And some people upset that ESPN didn't have Brian Kelly in the top 10. So one of these days we'll talk about that.
I don't know how you go to print with those, like Phil Steele's and those guys still print magazines. Those things usually get printed. Back in the day would get printed about right now, and they would start showing up in May. Lindy's, Athlon's. There's no way you can print those now with the transfer portal. You've got to wait. Those things got to be late getting into the portal.
Well, I think Brian
and you can't pre-write those analysis for each school. Man, I wouldn't want to be on the staff at one of those publications.
But the point is this, Mike. Brian Kelly's record has certainly been within the framework of top 10 coaches. But the big question that everybody out there watching and viewing is asking is and let's go first things first, folks. Is he going to have an SEC championship? And B, is he going to have a national championship? He's doing a little bit differently. Graduate champions, teach them instead of just pay for play like A&M and Bama and Georgia and Oregon and everybody, USC and Miami, everybody else. It's been a lot of that as of late. Ohio State, but can he win an SEC and a Natty, and how long will it take him?
If he doesn't make the playoffs, how disgruntled might the fan base be? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, but
is this a playoff or bust year?
Well, I mean, no, we got to wait to see what they got. I do say that for 25, of course, but it's too early for me to know how many they're going to win. But once again, that question, and I think that's one of the things.
The thing about it is, if a media person thinks they're going 7-5, the fans don't think that.
Yeah,
I think the fan base is going to be upset if they're not in the playoffs.
But don't you think that's one of the reasons why Coach Kelly ended up here? Now I know $10 million a year is pretty good, and you have a lot of other perks, but I think he wants to win a Natty, and the fact that the last 3 football coaches, one a genius and 2 other quirky guys. Let's give those props to all 3 with Nick and Les and Coach O. But I think he feels like when he gets his plan all implemented, and this was a big step in year 3 to make that change to younger coaches, 5 on defense, and then Slade Nagel coming in with special teams and obviously tight ends. So we'll see. But you and I have talked about it, and everybody's waiting to see. But I don't think there will be pressure, but there will be disappointment if they are not sneaking around that 12 this first year with the expansion from 4 to 12. And by the way, You're going to play 2 years at 12, and then you're going to go to 14 and 26.
Yeah. Barry Barbier, now that Alabama has a new coach, all of a sudden he is the second best in America, according to ESPN.
Yeah.
Well, helping him recruit, aren't they?
Well, no, I call them especially stupid program.
No, but I do think he's a good coach, but I'm not putting him there yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, see, that's the thing that Brian Kelly's got to improve. Let's call it the way it is. He's got to beat more top 5 and top 10 teams and play and win. Now, the fact that he played in the SEC championship game the first year at LSU was phenomenal. But you got to get there. That's your first step, and then when you play for it all. But it's going to be fun to see what it's like with 12 right now this upcoming year.
Paul Escon, why is it Milazzo starting at catcher? Travinsky and Neal seem to drop a lot of pitches. Seriously. I don't know. He's got options there. One struggling, use the other one.
Well, he hasn't wanted to take away Travinsky's bat, especially against left-handed pitchers. But it has, you got those 3 catchers, Milazzo, Travinsky, and Neal. And we know it's not been. Paul makes a good point.
I thought Neal was going to have a real breakout.
Well, he started off hot. Remember, had the 2 bombs against Rice and all. But it's just as simple, Mike, as framing the pitch. And we've talked about umpiring. And here's the corner, and you frame it. And the next thing you know, I'm watching all these other catchers. They're doing a lot better at framing it and getting the strike call versus catching balls, not the right way. And obviously there have been some pitches in the dirt they blocked. And so it's a good question. But Jared Jones last night, leadoff hitter. I asked Todd Walker, was that because he sees more fastballs being the leadoff? He said, absolutely. Interesting to see what the lineup will be. And PFM, thank you for being a great proponent of Pride Roofing. I know he's turned on a lot of people to do business with Mike and Alex. We appreciate him for that.
Awesome. All right. KnowNaturals, folks. Been passing out some of the samples I've got, and some of the reaction I've got are positive. And get ready for dispensary grade gummies delivered discreetly to your door with KnowNaturals. Their gummies are super fast acting. In just 15 to 30 minutes, experience a new level of wellness without needing a doctor's recommendation. Crafted with dispensary grade, top shelf quality cannabinoids, adaptogens, and terpenes, KnowNaturals offers a variety of gummies tailored to your needs. The 2 best are BLISS and Rest. Try those. So visit shop.knownaturals.com. Order today and use code TigerBait10. TigerBait10, and you're going to get 10% off your order. Know your cannabinoids, know your experience, KnowNaturals. And there you go. You can see it up front here. We got the energy. I haven't tried energy yet. Tried focus. It absolutely works. And look, these are big packs. They're 10, and these packs aren't expensive. Check them out at knownaturals.com. Focus, rest. And if you're one of those people that has problems sleeping sometime, absolutely try rest. It's much better than using some of the prescription stuff that can give you a lot of other issues down the road. All right. How's Corey Raymond's return going? Asked Wilk. I mean, look, it seems to be where they're in on a lot of kids in recruiting, and we won't know until the season gets here. But he's coaching them up, and we'll see. I think just overall the attitude on defense, those guys seem to be happy with who they're working with.
Look, we mentioned the aforementioned P.J. Woodland, of course, Toviano Stamps. You got Alexander waiting in the wings coming back in the fall. Obviously, we talked about it on the report, Jawan Johnson and other corners. So I think they're going to be much better on corners. You talked about some of the depth. And, oh, by the way, we had a question on one of the reports about some of the freshman wide receiver, DBs and safeties. Joel Rogers, 6 foot 195 from West Feliciana. I talked about the 3 numericals right in a row. Ryan Yates, Joel Rogers, and, of course, Kyler Jackson, Mike. Obviously, Rogers is the guy that has a good nose for the ball, but we haven't seen enough. We'll get a chance. Those are the kind of players we can get a better look-see on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Have a roster or some kind of way to keep up with the numbers, whether you got to print it out from LSUsports.net or what, because there are a lot of new names and a lot of new numbers this year.
Ed O says, how about Mike pushing edibles, laugh online? Nurse Court, how are those hitting? And she says, try them unless you get tested. These are legal. You're not going to have that problem. That's why they're able to ship them in Louisiana. Man, I feel like I need one right now. All right, let's see.
By the way, big news if you've been cruising or whatever, John Calipari, do you think you think they forced him out, or did you think he saw the writing on the wall?
I'm friends with several Kentucky friends. I got several Kentucky fan friends. They were so ready for him to hit the
and he actually said it. They need a new voice over there. Calling the pigs and the hogs, and nothing like Bobby.
Okay, I got something for you. Wait till you read this. Did you see it yet?
Have
you been on the message board today?
Yeah.
On TigerBait?
What you got?
Brian's post, Lazar?
I didn't see that.
Guys, I'm going to read this off to you. He made a post, Brian Lazar did, our TigerBait senior writer. He says, amazing similarities between Maneri at LSU and Calipari at Kentucky. Listen to this. LSU is a flagship baseball program in the SEC. Kentucky is a flagship men's basketball program in the SEC. Check out these numbers. Simply amazing. Paul Maneri, 15 seasons as LSU baseball coach. Calipari, 15 at Kentucky. Regular season championships, Maneri 4, Calipari 6. SEC tournament championships, Maneri 6, Calipari 6. NCAA tournament appearances, Maneri 12, Calipari 12. College World Series / Final Four appearances, Maneri 5, Calipari 4. National championships, Maneri 1, Calipari 1.
Except,
and they both won them in their third seasons.
Calipari has been implicated a little bit more with doing some illegal stuff and has had some problems. That being said, the big blue money, Mike, Mitch Barnhart called him in and said, if you're going to stay, you got to change. We'll give you one more year. He saw the writing on the wall. But interesting, moving from Kentucky to Arkansas. And obviously, we'll see who Kentucky brings in basketball.
But have you seen their wish list? It's crazy.
I think Drew at Baylor is probably Scott Drew at Baylor. Look, they're not getting UConn's coach and
that's the one
and all that. Sorry, Blue Blood. You better drink a blue martini if you think you're getting Billy Donovan or Danny Hurley.
Yeah. Bill Frere, will special teams be an advantage this year, or we have more of the same? Look, what is the thing that's been the biggest complaint? Punt returns. Well, what was that stat? I mean, Brian Kelly laid it out for you. The average punt return for teams across the NCAA is almost nothing. That's the way it is with the rugby style punting and everything. The punt return has been basically neutered from college football. So other than that, was there any failures last season?
Well, look, Greg Clayton was the guy the last couple of years, and basically he ended up fair catching most of them.
But I mean, other than that, was there any really snafus compared to the year before?
No, not nearly like the.
So if it's going to improve, where will it improve?
Well, Nathan Dybert has got his ankle in a sleeve, so he won't kick on the spring game. So there'll be somebody else kicking up. Could be Corbello's son, Aiden Corbello. Aaron Burrell's coming in the fall. Who's going to hold on PATs and field goals? That usually depends on the punter. Slade Roy back as the deep snapper. Xavier Thomas and Aaron Anderson, I'm hoping, can make Kelly have a different attitude. Look, LSU fans know about great punt returners. If you ever watch Tyra and Matthew against Georgia and all that zigzagging, and Patrick Peterson and Falk and Eddie Kennis and all the great punt returners, Tommy Casanova through the history.
Skylar Green.
Skylar Green. You want to see some action back there, and I'm hoping that they can get appreciably better. Kickoff returns, Mike, almost obsolete because everybody's got somebody that can kick it into the end zone.
Devin Johnson with a super chat. Thank you for that. Any word on stadium improvements? New end zone screen? Have you seen anything?
I have heard that they're not ready now, but they're taking some stuff down and getting ready to put some new stuff up there. You gotta be ready for what?
I'll look around Saturday.
Second, huh?
I'll look around Saturday. I haven't been in the stadium since last season.
Yeah, you have a better idea, but you got to have it ready for the second Saturday in September.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
It's a big video board's coming up.
Hal Jubin, I'm going to laugh my butt off when Arkansas is in the second weekend of the big dance next year and UK goes to the NIT. It's kind of like pick your poison. Just got to get Matt McMahon in those type of discussions. LSU men's basketball needs to elevate. He's still in the SEC, and Kentucky's going to get somebody certainly as best as they can get.
Of course, Muscle went out west to USC, and we will see how long it takes for Kentucky to get a blockbuster coach. It's not as easy as you would think of blue blood with Kentucky. They thought they'd go after all of the great coaches, and I don't see too many people, wanting to stop Nate Oates from Alabama. A lot of people thought he'd make that transition. Obviously, he had a big buyout. Didn't happen, Mike.
Bart Smokey says 4-4 in extra innings in softball. If y'all got an update, please share it. Absolutely. Let's see.
By the way, I did watch a little bit of the final game with Florida on Monday night, and Lady Tigers were up 5-1 and unfortunately could not finish it, and then lost on an error at the end of the game. So, let's just hope they get back, because people are a little antsy, as always.
One more Smoky Investment Team practice report coming up, and that'll be post-spring game on Saturday. Tomorrow's practice was initially supposed to be media access, but we got an email earlier today that no media access tomorrow, which is fine. I'm glad they're not letting us in, but we still get Brian Kelly tomorrow morning, and we'll also have him again after the spring game Saturday afternoon. So we're going to have BK twice in 72 hours.
The teams, were they divided with offense on one team, defense last year? Are you expecting to do that again? Or would you like to see like Nuss?
Whatever happened last year, that was one of the better spring games we've ever had.
Yeah. So we'll find out the format of the spring game tomorrow morning when Mike in the media talks with Coach Kelly.
Yeah, we thought that one was going to be the worst ever.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of entertaining.
Don't be shocked if Nuss hooks up with Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, and Daniels. Look, there's going to be some deep balls come Saturday afternoon. Once again, 1:00 SEC Network Plus, if you want to see it streamed.
Let's see what we got here. And transfer portal can make average basketball coaches great quick. Sure looks like Will Wade staying put, right?
What's that?
Will Wade staying put at McNeese.
You mentioned it last week.
It makes sense.
One more year with the show cause, and I think that somebody obviously will give him an opportunity next year after the show cause.
I think he's going to have a lot of big options next year.
Yeah,
because I think they're going to be right back in the NCAA tournament.
Hell of a year from McNeese, and of course, as we know, Gonzaga was playing really well those first couple of games in the NCAA tournament this year.
Edo, the Nuss bus driver, this won't be the first spring game Nuss lights up. We'll see. I think there's going to be a little bit of pitch and catch. I'm not going to say it's scripted or a wink and a nod, but I think there's going to be some big plays.
Once again, wide receiver, probably the deepest position on the team. And I want to give a shout out to Chris Hilton. I was thinking about all the guys. He is going to start with Kyron Lacey. Who you think will be the third guy in the slot?
Anderson.
And then you throw in Aaron Anderson, then you throw in Daniels, then you throw in Xavier Thomas, Shelton Sampson. I mean, there are a bunch of guys, but Chris Hilton.
Kyle Parker's had a good spring.
Kyle Parker's very reliable. So they've got 7 or 8, and then Javen Nicholas and a couple other kids at RJ Willis and Noah Nash. So you're going to see some kids and numbers that you're not familiar with. We mentioned the 2 running backs, Malachi Lane, 30, and Joseph Ibon, who's 32. You might see some of those. But once again, a lot of times, Mike, stars in the spring game don't flourish the same way in the fall.
John Sibley Butler with a good question. How will the Tigers be ranked going into the season?
We've had this discussion with a bunch of people, probably anywhere from 11 to 14.
I was going to say somewhere. I would say 14.
I'm going to say 11 to 14, depending on what kind of reports come out.
Now, look,
and what they do in the portal.
If all of a sudden a couple of crazy good defensive linemen in the portal, that might have a whole lot of people rethinking it and put them at like 9 or 10 or something. But I think somewhere in the early teens.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Here we go. Carl the Cat says 5-4 Southeastern in the 8th inning.
Well, wait.
Well, that means it's over.
Yeah, that would mean it'd be over because they're the home team.
Come on, Carl the Cat. You're an official.
Man,
Does that make it as a final, right?
it should be if that's the way it's.
Yeah.
Okay. Cat, you're still the best, my friend.
Yeah.
By the way, look, I'm not saying it's a meaningless game because a lot of the in-state colleges play close in softball. But once again, I certainly think that
it's at Tiger Park.
Oh, it's at Tiger Park.
It's at Tiger Park.
Okay. All right. My bad. Well,
Thanks,
know what?
Bart.
Look, we know that she's had some injuries, and it's the way the pitchers in softball. You got to have pitchers that are dominant and consistent, and we'll see. I know they got a great lefty coming in next year. We'll see if it makes a difference.
James Giller, any news on Trey Holly? No. He's still got that gun charge. That's nothing to sneeze at.
But he did have one charge dropped.
Yeah, which is that's the really, really big one. So good for him. He's in school. He was able to get that worked out to where he could stay and get his classwork done. You just got to let it run its course. Will he be at LSU next spring in August? That I don't know. As far as back and all that behind him, that I don't know.
Well, the key is you got to get everything.
But that gun charge is not insignificant.
I know.
That's still serious.
If you get that down to a misdemeanor, and people are hoping that actually happens in the next month or so. So we'll see. Got a very good attorney representing him.
Yeah. Now going to the bottom of the 8th, they said so. On that one. So, all right. Anything you want to add on the way out?
Just hope everybody's doing well. Once again, enjoy the spring game. I have not checked the weather, but Mike has been telling me I've had some misses on the Saturdays, but wear some sunscreen.
Look, I'm burnt. I'm peeling. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I do it to myself every year. It's usually when we get one of them full scrimmages that they let us out there, and I don't have any sunscreen and I don't wear a hat. So be on the lookout. I might be wearing the Indiana Jones hat on Saturday. So
hope everybody has a great weekend. And as always, I'll be back there next Wednesday with you on the show.
Yeah, John Gordon, it will be, it's streaming the spring game.
Yeah.
So it'll be
SEC Network Plus.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button, please, on the way out if you enjoyed the show. And subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, notification bell that works. And we'll see you on TigerBait.com. Good night.